Hey, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So it is day 2 of the 150k Apex Trader Funding Challenge, and today was super duper lucrative but very crazy. So I want to break down a few categories before we get into the live trades. The first one is my trading psychology. Last night I had about 3 hours of sleep. I had so much on my mind. I couldn't sleep. I was restless. And on top of that, I woke up super abruptly before my alarm rang this morning. So I was just kind of all over the place, right? Mentally not here, exhausted, and just knew that I wasn't prepared to actually trade. With that being said, going into category 2, my idea and strategy of the day was to, one, just wait for the market to chill out after Jay Powell had a speech at market open at 6:30 a.m. And then 2 was just to make sure I was mentally prepared to actually trade, to make sure I knew what was happening in the market. Like I could be able to see the charts clearly, But none of that happened. So going into category 3 is what actually happened, and that's the fact that a couple minutes after the market opened, I did have my charts up just to see what was happening. And based upon my idea from last night, which I did post on Instagram and Twitter, and I briefly talked about on my trading view the past couple of days, is I was looking for a squeeze to the upside. There was a 4-hour time frame moment where we were in a bull flag, and it was also a cup and handle from yesterday into today. And so I was looking for that squeeze, right? And everything was just starting to line up when I had the charts pulled up. So much liquidity was stacked on the upside. We had already attempted to break through this previous supply zone a few times within the last couple of days. And so just everything looked kind of right for me. So at that point, like 4 or 5 minutes into the market open, I decided to take that first trade, mentally and psychologically not being ready to trade, but having complete faith in the system and what I did see, and it did work out. So it was a very, like I said, lucrative day, very thankful for being able to still mentally be here to trade. And I'm still really tired, but we're pushing through. But for the rest of the video, I did capture just a couple more trades. I didn't capture every single one because, like I said, I just wasn't really there during my trading session. I was just kind of having faith in the system to do its thing. And if I did record the trade, I did. And if I didn't, then I didn't. But anyways, one of the trades I want to briefly mention before we get into the live trades is it is going to capture how we just came short of the TP target. I think I was up almost like 30 points, almost 30 points, and then it reversed all the way back down. But I did TP at 10 points, and if I didn't TP at that 10-point mark, which again you'll see, it would have reversed the whole thing, and then actually I would have lost some points from it too. So especially with the whole trailing drawdown, with intraday trailing, it would have, like, the system would have said like, oh, you're actually up this amount, but really I wasn't because I didn't secure the profits. So anyways, that's everything I wanted to talk about. So enough talking, let's get into the live trades. All right, so this is when market just opened about 4 minutes after the fact, and I'm starting to see lots of liquidity stacking to the upside and a potential squeeze, honestly, to the upside. Now, I did post my idea on my social media platforms, as I mentioned in the intro, and essentially, I was looking for a break out of this 4-hour downtrend bull flag pattern, and it also looked like a cup and handle, so that's why I felt some conviction to actually get into this trade here. Now, one thing for sure with this trade too is that, it's a very risky play. Market just opened. Powell is speaking as I'm doing my voiceover, and anything could really happen. We could reject off of VWAP right here. We could get slammed back down to the downside to go back in the trend. But based on the liquidity levels I was seeing, I had conviction to continue holding. And with the supply level of the 45-minute supply right there, I was looking to get a push into there. We definitely had enough orders sitting on the upside for buyers to keep pushing in to get in the supply zone. So although, we were having some resistance at VWAP and some rejection, it's all about being patient and just letting this trade play out and just, again, having conviction that it will play out. So exactly what is happening here. During this trade, I did not copy trade. There's only one contract for this 150k challenge account. So yeah, here we go. Just targeting this area based upon what I see on liquidity, as well as the previous high of that on the chart on the left, as you can see. So it's pretty obvious lots of bulls are stepping in here, wanting to grab those liquidity sweeps and pushing into that 45-minute supply zone. Just being patient. At this point, I clicked on the order because I was getting a little bit nervous as we were having a little pullback, but then I saw we had a yellow liquidity level stacking on the bottom as a push, and there we go. That's the first trade, and this is one of the other trades I took during the day. Now here I am just kind of scouting to see what the price action is looking like. Obviously, we're consolidating quite a bit right around where my cursor is. And in my opinion, this is a very messy bull flag. Very, very messy. It's not perfect. It's kind of just an idea that I'm running through my mind. So I wanted to go ahead and obviously draft it out there. But I was seeing that we're still holding above our VWAP, our EMAs. And although we're consolidating quite a bit here, I was seeing that we had still some bulls wanting to step in. We also have all those little orange market profiles on the right that are evenly stacked around. So it seems like a nice possible push to the upside. And I felt like at this point, my entry was a pretty darn lucky one. I wanted to get in a little bit earlier, but it's all good. Either way, I think it was a pretty solid trade. The only thing though is that if I'm recalling this trade correctly, I actually exit soon from it because of the fact that it doesn't go all the way to my TP. So I'd rather just secure some points than no points. So here it is. And there it goes, retracing a little bit back on me. I put my TP just right above where it stalled. And it definitely sucks. You know, we're up almost 30 points here. But I'd rather take what I can get, as I'm quickly seeing that it's going to start dissolving in a second here. Just shy of my target area. So there it goes, super close to hitting my TP, and quickly it falls. So I'm just gonna exit that trade for 10 points. Now 30 minutes pass. Here's another trade I'm taking with 2 contracts actually in, and I am copy trading, I believe, at this point too. And I'm looking for that push. You know, bulls are just stepping in. We are breaking higher and higher liquidity, stacking to the upside. And at this point, I'm starting to see that our trend for the day might just be going long all day. And in this case, I'm able to take my big points strategy and just apply it, having conviction. And with the big drawdown room I have for the 150K challenge, just being patient, really just being patient, using liquidity levels, stacking on the upside as some confluence, seeing that we're still respecting our EMAs, respecting the VWAP, respecting the entire trend. And obviously with our Jay Powell speech, using that momentum to keep driving upward, and the breakout of that 4-hour bull flag, the cup and handle, everything is just starting to look really beautiful. I was targeting the top of that supply a few seconds ago on the screen, and here we are. There is that the supply zone I was just talking about. I'm targeting the top of it and a possible breakout of it entirely. And it was really interesting because that white line right there in the middle is our pivot target on the 1-hour chart, our main P level. And we obviously break over it. I just want to get out of this entire supply zone, just looking for the push, trying to stay patient. And it's just a really crazy trending day. Some days where it's trending like this, everything just feels right, and you just got to let it play out. Have faith in the system, use momentum and use to your best advantage. Liquidity levels, order flow, all of that, just letting it play out. Don't get me wrong, I get nervous in some trades, holding it through because, like a previous trade, it quickly reversed on me, but things like that happen. But there we go, just hit our TP. Absolutely beautiful play. And here I am doing a quick little screen recording on my phone this time. I find this super clean. But anyways, here we are, actually looking for a really big point stretch. So when we get back to the Tradeway app, you'll see where my TP is at. But essentially, I was looking for a continuation to the upside, going to 15,200. And I entered at 15,174. So that's about a 26-point move. And what's really crazy about this trade entirely, though, is that you can still see that bulls are really trying to push. We had ourselves stuck between 2 different liquidity levels. So honestly, it could really drive in either direction, but because the overall market direction is to the upside, we are breaking out of that entire supply zone area that I talked about briefly a couple of minutes ago, a couple of seconds ago. It's looking like a really, really nice squeeze. And we're only an hour into the market opening. This is an hour of trading out in total, and we're just crushing it so far in the day. One contract on this 150K account. I'm starting to really notice that we're having lots of buying pressure. Lots of bulls are just stepping in. Liquidity levels are still sweeping beautifully. Then we have a little bit of hesitation right here because, as you can see, 109 institutional orders, it's pretty strong. So as I mentioned, I believe in the last video, or maybe I didn't, but when it comes to liquidity levels, 3 different things can happen. 1, full reversal when we get near the area. 2, we eat at it and then we get a reversal, or really nothing crazy happens, maybe a pullback. And then 3, we eat at the area and then we actually break through it, whether it's breaking up or breaking down. Either way, it's breaking through it. And so in this case, based upon the market direction, respectful of EMAs, respectful of VWAP, respectful of the breakout of the pattern, and just everything that's been going on throughout the morning at this point, conviction is held high to let this play out. Now here I am actually, as you can see, moving my TP even higher because the conviction is strong. Now obviously, still having those nerves in the back of my mind that I could have a quick reversal when we get to that 200 point. That 15,200 was a really nice resistance area to have that reversal, especially because there's such a strong liquidity level and one of 3 things can happen there, but just trying to stay patient. So nothing much really going on here. Again, just going back and forth between my tabs to see what's happening with our price action. But every time we, snap away from the area, we're not getting a quick snap to the downside, which is a really good thing in our case, because if it comes up to a strong liquidity level and it gets slapped very quickly, sometimes that can indicate, a red flag that the price doesn't want to go any further, or that it's too weak, there's not enough volume. But because volume during New York session only an hour after it opens is still very, very strong, and this is something I cover within my strategy video that I'm working on, which is volume. It's super critical at this point that we have a lot of momentum. We have the volume, we have direction, and again, we have all the conviction we need to just let this play out. It's just patience needs to be on our side. So that's all we're doing here. Nothing really special going on in my mind. Really just letting it do its thing and staying patient. So I believe this is my last trade of the day too for this account. So yeah. Now, while we are waiting for this to pretty much play out the way we want it to, there it is, possibly bouncing off this liquidity level. So it's kind of, piggybacking between the tops and the bottoms. Just like it did earlier in the previous trade, it bounced off of that bottom liquidity level and pushed right up. That's what we're looking for this trade. But while we're waiting for this to play out, I just want to say, though, that I hope you guys are doing really well with your trading. I know that sometimes it can be tough getting caught in the chops, and then the big move happens and you miss out on it. Definitely a lot of FOMO, and then YOLOing can come into it. So I understand how you guys feel, but just keep calm and stick to your strategy as much as possible, to your risk management, to your emotional management, and focus on that instead of how much money you could have made on that missed move. I think that helps a lot with focusing on the process rather than the profits. Something I'm definitely working on every single day. It gets tough, we literally trade to make money, so obviously it can be hard to think about anything else. So I did adjust it down to 15,205. I lost faith a little bit here in 208, which is a little sad because, not to spoil it, but I am going to spoil it. We do actually surpass up to 208 later in the day. We actually get all the way as like 219, I believe, which kind of gets near my actual target zone of 230, which I believe I had put on my trading view, or I had mentioned somewhere on my social media. But either way, still really happy with how my patience is here and letting the trade play out. I mean, in itself, we're already up 20 points here, you know, and we're starting to see it's cracking the highs. I put the line there as a way to just show where we beat previous price levels. So we obviously already cracked over it a little bit and looking for a further push over it, and obviously a close over it would be beautiful. But we're starting to see that pressure. There it is, breaking the 200, staying patient. And instead of letting it come up there, we end up taking the trade off. And then it hits 205 right after, and then it pushes up to 207 or 208. So, oh well. Really, really good trade either way. And that is a wrap of day 2 of the 150K challenge account. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and your support in this series. I have some closing remarks I want to mention before the video ends. So the first thing is that I am very happy with my overall performance and execution on today's trading session. You know, we've come a long way from where we started with the strategy, even as a beginner trader. And so seeing where we are now, like highlighting today that we were able to have faith in the system we've created for ourselves, and even when we were feeling psychologically not here, it still played out the way we wanted it to, or at least the way that we planned for it to. And so it really brings even more confidence in myself that it's possible to do this whole trading thing. But the second thing I want to mention is that I know a lot of you out there may be going through a similar path I am, which is mentally struggling, whether it be in like your own personal life, but more specifically in trading. I can definitely understand that times get rough and that you feel so down bad and that you want to quit trading, you think it's not possible. I really understand. And one day I will actually share the explicit details of how difficult this journey has been, and I'll have my friends and my family come into this too to be able to talk about their experience of seeing me the way that I was in the future, obviously, because we're still working through this journey. But just know that you're not alone. Like, everyone has their feelings, and it's all valid when it comes to trading, because it's easy to be emotional. We're creatures meant to feel and to think and overthink, and so don't feel bad for yourself or for other traders when you see that they're breaking down, you see they're upset, you see they're sad, like you see all these different things. It's all part of the process, and over time you'll be able to manage those emotions and manage that risk and develop the best strategy possible. You just got to give it some time. Stick to one thing at a time, let it play out, see if it works. If it does, great, keep going. If it doesn't, tweak it, develop it better. And if it's just a waste of time, if it's really garbage, then obviously you can toss it and just start anew. I mean, that's why there's demo accounts. You can always stick to paper trading if you need to, or you have really, really affordable prop firm accounts. So either way, in this day and age, there's just so many resources out there available to be able to help you get better, you know, and I've definitely taken advantage of them, whether it's, you know, those free coaching sessions online, YouTube live streams, YouTube videos, going to a therapy session, talking to your friends, talking to your family. Like, use whatever resources you can to help you develop as a person and as a trader. And at the end of the day, just stick to what works best for you and just keep developing along the way. That's life, you know. We're all struggling to get to financial freedom, to get to time freedom, to reach our goals, you know. So, you know, it's okay to have a lot of emotions during this journey. Just try not to just stay in it too long. That's the hardest part, but I think that's the best piece that I can give you, because I was one of those victims of staying really deep in the hole and not wanting to come out of it. And I've shared that personal side of my story with you guys. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I appreciate you guys, like I said, with your time and support. I wish you nothing but the best and most success in your trading journey, and I'll see you all in the next video.